Tenitzu here, and today we'll be covering the fifth and final part of What If Naruto Was a Hyuga. You can find a place to the rest of the series in the description, but without further ado, let's get straight into part 5. Naruto had succeeded in defeating Pain and seemed to have accepted Jiraiya's death, as he now knew that he needed to fill Jiraiya's shoes from now on. When he had heard that the Raikage planned to make Sasuke a convicted felon as the latter had joined the Akatsuki after learning of his brother's past, Naruto ran toward his location as he was heading to the Five Kage summit. When Naruto arrived in front of the Raikage, he was instantly dismissed, as when Sasuke had attacked Killer Bee, his fate was basically sealed, at least to A. Naruto didn't really feel defeated, he just had to protect Sasuke from anyone, and he was prepared to do so. Naruto trained like a maniac over the next few days before suddenly being summoned to an unknown location where Killer Bee awaited his arrival. "What's good?" Killer Bee said. "I just want to make it clear I'm not gonna be spitting any bars with Killer Bee, so please don't be too let down." They proceeded to get friendly over the next few days, training together, and in general being stupid, before Naruto and Bee finally got serious, which is when Naruto, Killer Bee, and Yamato, who had come with them for security purposes, entered the room where Naruto was to fight the Nine-Tails, at least in his mind. When Naruto saw the Nine-Tails, he wasn't afraid at all. "I'm gonna get your chakra, you just wait," he shouted at the beast, which laughed at him until realizing he was serious when the gate suddenly opened and hundreds of Naruto stormed in. It was a battle unlike anything Naruto had ever fought. He couldn't overpower him, and that's when all of his walls crashed in again as he let all of the hatred of the Nine-Tails seep into him before everything became blindingly light all of a sudden. When Naruto's eyes adjusted to the sudden brightness, he saw a pair of two people in front of him. "Who are you?" Naruto asked, quite confused, which the pair smiled broadly at him. "Feel free to guess." And Naruto thought. "Brown hair, blue eyes," Naruto said, looking at the man. "A face like mine. You guys are clearly the true form of the Nine-Tails." And so he got a blow to the head. "We're your parents, you dumbass." "Wait, what?" Naruto asked before his eyes suddenly became glossy as he ran toward them, hugging them both, as tears began flowing from his eyes as he began asking them many questions, and asking if he had done right in their eyes, which made them tear up too, and it overall was just a whole mess, but it was the best mess in Naruto's life, as they both helped him gain control of the Nine-Tailed chakra before finally having to leave him once more. "I'll see you when I die," shouted at them, a bunch of tears flowing from his eyes. He was the fourth Hokage's son and the red-hot Habanero's son. He couldn't let them down now. Naruto looked at his hands. They were covered in orange chakra before he suddenly activated his Byakugan, which seemed golden now too, as, out of nowhere, he charged at the sword on Beast's back, piercing it, killing it instantly. Killing it? It was a man? Oh! Naruto seemed to realize something. It was Kisame. He was also able to sense negative emotions, but that had a bit of side effect as he felt something going on outside, so he stormed out with B hot on his tracks. When they came out, some people, including Iruka, attempted to stop him, but he was able to get past them easily as he began running alongside B before getting interrupted again. He knew a war was going on now. You can sense all the pain and suffering, and here, in front of him, were two Kage wanting to stop him, which infuriated Naruto. "Get out of my way! You can't stop me and you know that." But Tsunade stepped in, telling him that he needed to stay back as he was important to everyone, which is when Naruto snapped at her, shouting, "And the thousands of lives lost there aren't? I don't care if I die. I'm gonna protect my village and my people even at the cost of my own life." Naruto began blitzing past him with the Raikage attempting to stop him, but Naruto far outclassed him in terms of speed, and so E and B began running with the Raikage snickering after them. What a ruckus from such a small kid. Headstrong one though, ain't he? Tsunade laughed, nodding. Naruto quickly made around 12 shadow clones, which quickly began helping all across the battlefield. When one of his clones got to the battlefield where the third Raikage was fighting, he smiled broadly, saying, "This'll be easy." As with his Byakugan, he could easily tell the weaknesses of the Edo Tensei and defeated him in a single rush before starting to destroy the Zetsu all around them. All over the battlefield, Naruto helped out until one clone got to the just now revived Madara. Holy! Naruto said as he looked up at Madara until he suddenly disappeared and many people died just from that alone. He couldn't do anything but try and help the survivors at least. We cut to some time later. When Naruto was standing in front of every tailed beast, he was set back to only his Byakugan as his KCM-1 seemed to be finally giving out now, but he was called into Kurama's mindscape when Naruto and Kurama finally became friends and transformed Naruto into the KCM state, which is also where Kurama finally gained his status as a member of the Hidden Leaf. Naruto proceeded to quote-unquote fix everything for the tailed beasts, but he wasn't able to do even that as every tailed beast was dragged into the Gedomazo which began forming into the Ten Tails. It seemed all hope was lost at first, but then Naruto was forced to the headspace of all tailed beasts, where he received a bit of everyone's chakra, which made his eyes suddenly prickle, which evolved into a stabbing-like pain with his eyes even starting to bleed before he opened them again. Everything seemed much clearer than before, and even felt strong where 6 black orbs formed behind him. He had awakened the Tensegon. With the abilities that came with this, Naruto, alongside Kakashi and Guy, were able to fight the masked man in front of them evenly. It was a true mystery, the identity of that man, but his power was easy to see through, and so Naruto succeeded in demasking him, revealing it to be Obito. Even after demasking him and being joined by Sasuke and Sakura alongside the past Hokage, it was still a hopeless battlefield. Everywhere people died, and Naruto could do little about it until it finally clicked with Naruto. He gave everyone some Nine-Tailed chakra and directed them with the true qualities of the best leader to have ever been born. Not only was Naruto incredibly battle smart, he also knew the exact capabilities of everyone there, so his coordination was so perfect that they were able to hold down the Ten Tails. They were winning. Yes! Everything was going Naruto's way, with Obito almost coming around, attempting to revive everyone until Black Satsu formed around half his body and he was forced to revive Madara. But that wasn't too bad, right? As Obito lay there dying, he formed his hands into one last seal as he was suddenly enveloped in a black orb which slowly began to crack, revealing a wild, scaly version of Obito, the new Ten-Tailed Jinchuriki. Naruto cracked his knuckles as he shouted at Sasuke, "Come here, we need to combine!" With Sasuke coming over as they both activated their forms, which enveloped Naruto's Kurama avatar with Sasuke's Susanoo armor. It was truly a sight to behold, and Naruto grinned broadly at Sasuke, who couldn't help but smile too. As they began fighting Obito, the cracks in his minds were easy to read for Naruto, and so, after some talk no jutsu and the raw power, Obito lost the fight after being mentally overpowered by Naruto. Madara, though, saw all of this as child's play as he quickly killed both Naruto and Sasuke, even extracting the Nine Tails from Naruto. When Naruto came to, he was in the headspace alongside the Sage of Six Paths, who granted both Naruto and Sasuke half of his power. Naruto was still stuck without the Nine Tails, which is when Naruto suddenly saw blue chakra flicking up all around his body. What the? Before being enveloped by it. The power of the Tenseigan. He had forgotten all about it. His form now was incredibly strong. The Tenseigan's cloak was unbelievable and the power fit Naruto perfectly. Madara looked down upon them as he smirked, with Naruto and Sasuke quickly rushing at him, attempting to seal him, but they cast away from him as he activated the Eternal Tsukiyomi, enveloping everyone except for Team 7. When they were all safe of it, they rushed at Madara once more, but he began deforming after casting the Eternal Tsukiyomi. It was like he was becoming a different person, and, yes indeed, he was, as suddenly he became more feminine as in front of them stood Kaguya, and so the final battle of the war began. It was a battle full of sparks and incredible feats of power, with Naruto showing insane abilities he hadn't had before, such as flying, and incredible physical power from the Sage of Six Paths, alongside being able to pull and push things with other things as well, using his black orbs to their fullest extent. Overall, it was a battle of the gods, with the conclusion being almost angelic, with Team 7 sealing Kaguya for good. The war was finally over. Naruto said his tearful goodbye to his father, and he was finally able to live a happy life. Naruto had even survived the war, but of course, the Naruto verse doesn't let you have good things. And so Sasuke revolted, and before the Nine Tails could come back to Naruto, Sasuke genjutsu'd all of the tail beasts before incarcerating them in planetary devastations, before then rushing to the final valley, closely followed by Naruto. When Naruto got there, he had the familiar sensation of finality he had back when he had first fought Sasuke, but this time he was not scared, nor was he stressed. He was ready to accept Sasuke back or get him back by force. It didn't matter to him. The battle between the two was truly cinematic, with the first part of their fight being large mecha-like jutsu clashes, with Naruto using his 10 Saigon abilities to overpower Sasuke alongside his new jutsu. The second part of their incredible fight developed into a regular ninja fight, quote unquote, well, as regular as a fight between these two godlike ninjas could be. It was filled with hundreds of Rasengans, Chidori, and all their signature jutsu, but they just couldn't defeat each other. Finally, their fight became two old friends clobbering each other. Naruto was out of breath as he hit Sasuke once more. I'll, I'll bring you back, no matter what. And suddenly he hit him with a Hyuga technique, blocking some of his chakra paths before getting hit by a Thunder Jutsu from Sasuke before the two of them finally got up, as they both took the very last bit of chakra they had as they finally came into their final clash, with the two of them suddenly blacking out. The two of them opened their eyes in a dreamlike state. It was filled with all their memories. Naruto was able to accept them all, but Sasuke seemed to be unwilling to do the same. Sasuke looked upon Naruto being able to accept everything so easily. Oh, was he jealous? So jealous. But then Naruto began to speak. I wish I could have done something like this when I was younger, you know? He smiled at Sasuke. All of these memories, how I was treated back then, how my parents died, even how Jiraiya died. I just couldn't accept it then, but I've come to realize that even if everything is terrible, you can grow as a person from it. Naruto wiped away some tears as memories of Jiraiya began flashing in front of him, with Sasuke just silent. We just have to celebrate the fact that they even lived, right? Naruto told them, still tearing up slightly but smiling, which is when Sasuke realized that Naruto was right. He had always been right, and so he teared up too, until everything suddenly went black. When the two of them woke up, both still bleeding slightly, the sun was coming up as Naruto began laughing with Sasuke about everything. They had both lost their arms, and Sasuke was initially scared. He wasn't familiar with this kind of friendship anymore, but slowly he began laughing too as they looked back at everything. It truly was a story of joy, of laughter, although of sadness and loss too. But overall, it was always about friendship. Now, I hope you all enjoyed this what if scenario. I sure did, and if you did enjoy it, make sure to drop a sub, like, and even comment if you want to. But without further ado, this was Tenitzu, and I am